Welcome! Today we're exploring the frontier of chemical discovery, a place where automation, artificial intelligence, and chemistry converge to create a new paradigm for science.
We'll be taking a deep dive into a paper by Rigoberto Advincula and Jihua Chen titled Discovery Science with Autonomous ML-Driven Continuous Flow Chemistry. This work outlines a future where the slow, manual process of laboratory research is transformed into a rapid, intelligent, and autonomous endeavor.
Let's begin by setting the stage. At its heart, discovery science is about creating new knowledge. In chemistry, this often means designing and synthesizing new molecules. For decades, synthetic chemistry, whether organic, inorganic, or for nanoparticles, has been the engine driving progress in pharmaceuticals, drug discovery, and advanced materials like polymers and hybrid organic-inorganic systems. The foundations were built on what could be called conventional, recipe-based methods.
However, the demands of modern science and industry have evolved. We no longer just need a new molecule. We need it to be produced with higher yields, through shorter synthetic routes, at a large scale, and in a way that is sustainable and renewable, adhering to the principles of green chemistry. This puts us at a crossroads. To meet these demands and tackle fundamental challenges, like creating specific carbon-carbon bonds, controlling the 3D shape of molecules through asymmetric catalysis, or precisely controlling the sequence of monomers in a polymer, we need to do more than just refine old recipes. We need entirely new tools. The authors argue that these new tools are artificial intelligence and machine learning, or AI and ML. They are not just for analyzing data, but for actively guiding experimentation in real time. To understand how this works, we need to look at the two core technologies that make it possible: continuous flow chemistry and machine learning.
First, let's talk about the physical setup. Traditional chemistry is often done in batch, like cooking in a pot. You add all your ingredients to a flask, stir them, heat them, and wait. Continuous flow chemistry is different. It's more like a manufacturing assembly line. Reagents are continuously pumped through a network of tubes and reactors where they mix and react in a flowing stream. This isn't just a trivial change. It offers exquisite control. Because the reaction volumes are small and the surface area is large, you can manage temperature with incredible precision, mix reagents more efficiently, and even use light or electricity to drive reactions in ways that are difficult or dangerous in a large flask. Now let's bring in the intelligence. In this new model of discovery, AI and ML are the brains of the operation. AI is the broader concept. It includes systems like autonomous agents that can plan and execute tasks, and even large language models that can understand and generate human-like text. ML is a subset of AI that focuses on specific algorithms that learn from data to make predictions, classify outcomes, and optimize processes. Together, these technologies transform raw experimental data, things like spectroscopic signals, temperature readings, or product concentrations, into actionable insights that can be used to design the next experiment automatically. Imagine a system that can design its own experiments. It starts with a set of boundary conditions, the possible temperatures, pressures, and concentrations it's allowed to use. It then generates a random set of initial reaction conditions to test. These reactions are carried out by the automated continuous flow hardware. As the reactions run, sensors and inline monitors are constantly collecting data. This is where the first machine learning model comes in. This model, let's call it M1, is trained on the performance and productivity of these initial experiments. Its job is to learn the relationship between the process parameters, like temperature and flow rate, and the outcome, for example, the yield of the desired product. The model then predicts an optimized set of parameters to try next. The system runs the experiment, and if the prediction was successful, it moves on. If not, it adds the new data point to its training set and refines the model, getting smarter with each cycle. But it doesn't stop there. A second machine learning model, M2, can be used to optimize the physical geometry of the reactor itself, perhaps changing the shape of the mixing channels or the length of the reaction tube. This creates a nested optimization loop, where the system is not only finding the best recipe, but also building the best possible pot to cook it in. The final output is a fully optimized process, discovered with minimal human intervention. A real-world version of this consists of an automated flow chemistry platform with pumps and valves, all computer-controlled, connected directly to analytical instruments. For instance, the output from the reactor can be fed directly into a benchtop nuclear magnetic resonance, or NMR, spectrometer.
The NMR provides real-time data on the chemical structures and concentrations in the stream. This data is the response. Based on this response and the current state of the system, the AI decides on the next action, perhaps changing a pump's flow rate or adjusting a heater's temperature.
This entire setup is what's known as a closed-loop system, or a self-driving lab. It's an embodiment of the scientific method, but accelerated to machine speed. To truly appreciate the power of this approach, we need to connect it back to the fundamentals of chemistry. Physical organic chemistry is the science of understanding why reactions happen. It uses principles of thermodynamics to predict how far a reaction will go, and kinetics to predict how fast it will go. Chemists study the intricate dance of atoms and electrons, mapping out reaction mechanisms, identifying fleeting intermediates like radicals or carbocations, and characterizing the high-energy transition states that molecules must pass through to transform. These core concepts, bond energy, the electronic and steric effects of different atomic groups, chirality, and selectivity, form the foundation of chemical intuition. A self-driving lab doesn't replace this knowledge. Instead, it provides a platform to test hypotheses based on these principles at an unprecedented rate. It allows us to observe and quantify reactions, gathering the empirical data needed to validate or refine our theoretical models. This is especially powerful in the field of catalysis, which is central to so much of modern chemistry. Catalysts are substances that speed up reactions without being consumed. They can be homogeneous, dissolved in the same phase as the reactants, heterogeneous, a solid surface on which a liquid or gas reacts, or biological, enzymes. A major goal in chemistry is to translate discoveries made at the molecular or single atom level into scalable industrial processes. Continuous flow systems are ideal for this. They allow for the precise study of reaction kinetics, helping to distinguish between different models of how catalysts work. They can help answer fundamental questions, like whether the cooperative effects seen in enzymes, known as allosteric, can be replicated in synthetic nanoparticle catalysts.
We can see this in action with two key examples. The first is transition metal catalysis, which is a cornerstone of organic synthesis, used to create complex carbon-carbon bonds. A self-driving lab could systematically test dozens of different metal catalysts to find the optimal one for a specific transformation. The second is enzyme catalysis. Enzymes are nature's master chemists, achieving incredible levels of selectivity. An automated system can explore the conditions needed to use these enzymes to build complex molecules with specific 3D structures, which is crucial for making pharmaceuticals. The approach also opens up new frontiers in areas like organic electrosynthesis. Here, instead of using potentially toxic chemical reagents to add or remove electrons, you simply use an electrode. The electrons become traceless reagents. This is a much greener way to do chemistry, but it comes with its own challenges. The reactions are highly dependent on the electrode surface and the electrical parameters. A self-driving lab can systematically explore this vast parameter space, discovering new reactivity and optimizing processes for activating chemical bonds in ways that were previously impossible. Researchers can engineer catalysts atom by atom, tuning their electronic structure by changing the supporting material, the surrounding molecules, or by introducing specific defects. A self-driving lab could rapidly test these different designs to discover the most efficient catalyst for a given reaction.
So why is continuous flow the right platform for this? The advantages are numerous.
First, it excels at handling reactions that are difficult to control in batch, such as those involving light, photochemistry, or electricity, electrochemistry. Consider a photochemical reactor. To work efficiently, the entire reaction mixture needs to be evenly illuminated. In a large flask, the light gets absorbed by the outer layers, and the center remains dark. In a thin flow tube, every molecule gets its share of photons. Some advanced designs, like a photovortex reactor, use a rotating inner cylinder to create Taylor vortexes, a type of flow pattern that ensures intense and uniform mixing while the reactor is bathed in light from high-power LEDs. This allows for the safe and efficient scale-up of photochemical reactions.
Second, flow chemistry provides unparalleled control over reaction conditions. You can control the residence time, the exact amount of time the molecules spend in the reactor, simply by changing the flow rate. Heat management is also superior. The high surface area to volume ratio means you can add or remove heat very quickly, maintaining a perfectly constant temperature, which is critical for controlling reaction selectivity. This level of control enables the synthesis of complex molecules in a streamlined, multi-step process. A striking example is the automated synthesis of active pharmaceutical ingredients, or APIs. The system can be set up as a chemical assembly line. In the synthesis of ibuprofen, for instance, reagents flow through a heated reactor coil for the first step, then mix with a new reagent in a T-mixer for the second step, and so on. The process can even include inline purification, using devices like a membrane separator to remove unwanted byproducts. Similarly, the complex natural product artemisinin, an important anti-malarial drug, can be synthesized using a photochemical step in a flow reactor cooled to -20 degrees Celsius and irradiated with high-power LEDs.
These are not just laboratory curiosities. These systems can produce grams of highly pure material per hour, demonstrating a viable path to modern pharmaceutical manufacturing. This same precision is revolutionizing polymer synthesis. Creating polymers with specific properties requires controlling not just the chemical reaction, but also the polymer's final architecture, its molecular weight, the distribution of chain lengths, and the sequence of different monomer units. This is incredibly challenging in batch reactors, where poor mixing and thermal gradients can lead to uncontrolled reactions and inconsistent products. As a result, there's a bottleneck. Our ability to design new polymers with AI and simulation has outpaced our ability to actually make them. Continuous flow chemistry breaks this bottleneck. In a flow reactor, we can precisely control monomer and initiator ratios through efficient mixing. We can maintain uniform temperatures to manage exothermic reactions. And we can use flow to prepare advanced materials, like block copolymer grafted silica particles or hyperbranched polymers, with a level of control that is simply unattainable in batch. This ability to generate high-quality experimental data is crucial for training the next generation of AI models for polymer design. Now, let's look more closely at the brain of these self-driving labs. A significant development is the integration of large language models, or LLMs, the same technology behind systems like GPT-4. Specialized LLMs like ChemGPT or ChemBerta are trained on vast datasets of chemical literature and reaction data. They can understand natural language instructions, generate hypotheses, plan multi-step experiments, and even write the code to control the robotic hardware. A key challenge with LLMs, however, is that they can sometimes hallucinate or generate plausible-sounding but incorrect information. To overcome this, researchers use a technique called retrieval augmented generation, or RAG. Before the LLM generates a response, it first retrieves relevant, verified information from external databases, such as the scientific literature, patents, or internal electronic lab notebooks. This grounds the LLM's output in factual data, making it a much more reliable tool for scientific discovery. Using these tools, we can create agentic systems, AI frameworks that act as autonomous research assistants. A chemist could instruct the system in plain English. Find the optimal conditions for this esterification reaction using a flow reactor. The AI agent would then scout the literature for starting points, design a series of experiments, translate them into protocols for the robotic platform, oversee their execution, analyze the results, and iterate until the objective is met. To make these iterative decisions, the system often employs a powerful subset of machine learning called reinforcement learning, or RL. In reinforcement learning, an agent learns to make decisions by performing actions and observing the rewards or penalties it receives. It's essentially learning through trial and error, but in a very sophisticated way. A fantastic example of this is a fluidic platform called AlphaFlow, designed for the autonomous discovery and optimization of nanoparticle synthesis. The system can perform multi-step reactions in tiny microdroplets with integrated separation and spectral monitoring. In one campaign, its goal was to synthesize cadmium selenide nanoparticles of a specific size. The RL agent had to decide the sequence of reagent injections, the volume of each injection, and the reaction time. The data from the system is fascinating. We can see the RL agent's strategy evolve over several cycles. Initially, it's in exploration mode, trying a wide range of conditions to learn about the system. As it gathers data, it switches to exploitation mode,
zeroing in on the conditions that yield the highest reward, in this case, nanoparticles with the desired optical properties. The system can even generate plots of predicted reward, showing how it evaluates different possible actions. It learns, for instance, that a particular injection might have little immediate effect, but is crucial for enabling a successful outcome in a later step. This is a level of strategic planning that goes far beyond simple optimization.
Of course, for any of this to work, the lab needs senses. This is the role of online monitoring. A continuous flow reactor can be equipped with a whole suite of analytical instruments that provide a real-time data stream. These can be spectroscopic tools like UV-Vis, infrared or Raman spectroscopy, chromatographic methods like HPLC or gas chromatography, or electrochemical sensors. This continuous feedback is the lifeblood of a self-driving lab. One of the biggest hurdles for this technology is cost. A fully automated, bespoke self-driving lab can be prohibitively expensive. This creates a barrier to widespread adoption, especially in academic research and education. The authors argue passionately for the democratization of this technology. How can we make these tools more accessible? A key enabler is 3D printing. Instead of machining reactor parts from stainless steel or glass, we can now print them from chemically resistant polymers. This drastically lowers the cost and allows for rapid prototyping of custom designs. We can also integrate low-cost open-source electronics like Arduino microcontrollers and Raspberry Pi single-board computers to control pumps, valves, and sensors. The development of open-source software platforms further lowers the barrier to entry, allowing labs to build and control their own automated systems. This opens up incredible opportunities for education. Imagine an undergraduate organic chemistry lab where students don't just follow a recipe, but design and run experiments on a low-cost 3D printed flow chemistry setup, learning principles of chemical engineering, mechatronics, and data science alongside their chemistry. This is how we train the next generation of scientists to be fluent in the language of automation. So, what is the ultimate outlook? The vision is for AI and ML-driven automation using continuous reactors to become a universal technology for chemists. The wide availability of modular, affordable systems will provide a foundation for more hypothesis-driven experiments and rigorous process optimization. A critical piece of this future is data. These systems will generate vast amounts of high-quality, standardized, and reproducible data. This data, in turn, can be used to train more powerful and reliable large language models, creating a virtuous cycle of improvement. Flow reactors will not replace all other methods. Techniques like sonication or microwave chemistry will still have their place, but flow systems will be integrated into modular designs, complementing these other tools. The ability to integrate synthesis with inline purification will enable telescoped reactions, where a multi-step synthesis occurs in one continuous, uninterrupted process. Ultimately, the advancement of closed-loop, self-driving systems will redefine the role of the synthetic chemist. It will free them from repetitive manual labor, allowing them to focus on higher-level tasks, creative problem-solving, hypothesis generation, and interpreting complex data. It will be a future of faster, more efficient, and more insightful science, where we can explore the vast chemical space with a speed and precision we are only just beginning to imagine.